Hey everybody, Tim Alpert here, and thank you for listening to the YFP podcast, where each week we strive to inspire and encourage you on your path towards achieving financial freedom. This week I had a chance to sit down with Emlah Tubuo, the owner and pharmacist in charge at Powell Pharmacy and founder of Emlah Naturals, a pharmaceutical-grade supplement line. A few of my favorite moments from the show include hearing from Emlah of why she decided to make the leap to start her own business after practicing as a community and ambulatory care pharmacist for nearly a decade, the challenges and, quote, failures she has had to overcome in starting and running a business, the why behind her business ventures, and how she, despite numerous accolades and recognitions, defines personal and professional success. Before we hear from today's sponsor and then jump into the show, I recognize that many listeners may not be aware of what the team at YFP Planning does in working one-on-one with more than 240 households in 40 plus states. YFP Planning offers fee-only, high-touch financial planning that is customized for the pharmacy professional. If you're interested in learning more about how working one-on-one with a certified financial planner may help you achieve your financial goals, you can book a free discovery call at yfpplanning.com. Whether or not YFP Planning's financial planning services are a good fit for you, know that we appreciate your support of this podcast and our mission to help pharmacists achieve financial freedom. Okay, let's hear from today's sponsor, and then we'll jump into my interview with Emlah. This episode of the Your Financial Pharmacist podcast is sponsored by Splash Financial. With interest rates on the rise, it's a good time to evaluate the refinancing of your student loans. If you've ever considered refinancing your loans, check your rate now through Splash Financial. If you qualify, refinancing can help you get a lower monthly payment on your student loans or get a lower interest rate. Splash helps you shop and compare loan refinancing offers across lenders nationwide. Browsing rates through Splash Financial is fast, free, and won't impact your credit until you complete a full application. And now when you successfully refinance $50,000 or more, Splash Financial will give you an extra $500 in cash bonus using our link splashfinancial.com/YFP. So check your rate today and see what you might be able to save at splashfinancial.com/YFP. Emlah, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tim. Thanks for having me. I am excited to be here.
Well, I am too. I'm excited to dig into your pharmacy career as well as your entrepreneurial journey and the intersection of those two things. We had a chance to connect briefly this past weekend at the OPA, Ohio Pharmacists Association annual meeting. That was such a treat. And I'm really excited to introduce you further to the YFP community. And so before we jump in to the entrepreneurial journey, where I want to spend most of our time, tell us more about what drew you into the profession of pharmacy and where you did your PharmD training.
You know, I originally hail from Cameroon, West Africa. And what happened is I would volunteer at these WHO clinics, and these clinics run by the Baptist Health Center that I lived near. And we had missionaries come in. We had some ladies who were pharmacists come from North America, and I just adored them. When the physicians or the nurses that work with them at these clinics, when they ask them any question about a medication, they spit the answer right out. And I thought to myself, how do these ladies know about all those medications? And this is, it's like a charitable pharmacy where all the medications are donated with different names from different countries. And these ladies could tell you, if we don't have this medication in stock, let's use this other one. Oh, this patient, they don't need this other one, they need this one. And they just amazed me. And I started talking with them about how to become a pharmacist. And there is no pharmacy school in Cameroon. This was when I was in high school going to undergrad. And I started researching and thinking of how I could be able to leave Cameroon and go study pharmacy in their country. So that's really what spun it around for me. So those missionaries who were pharmacists and just working with their hearts, not just practicing pharmacy, but influencing people around them.
And so that experience through the WHO and those folks that were there helping to serve, tell us about the connection then. We crossed paths at the Ohio State University College of Pharmacy, where we both have connections, you from your PharmD training, me from my residency training. You've obviously precepted and stayed connected with OSU throughout your career thus far as well. But tell us more then about that connection of, okay, I see the role that a pharmacist can play, and then what work you did ultimately, start your undergraduate work and then go on to pharmacy school.
Yeah, all about consistency. That's one word that has carried me on, and it's something that I share with everybody that's around me. Started applying out. There is no space to take the GCAT in Cameroon. So the only way to come out of Cameroon was to apply for a master's program in molecular genetics. And that's how I went to Chicago, did my master's there. And during my master's program, I started applying to colleges of pharmacy around the country. So, and that's how I got to Ohio State with basically almost no money to make it out here. Drove from Chicago, came to Columbus for the interview. I fell in love with Ohio State. And as soon as I was accepted, this became home for me. Ohio State is my base. And I just got the mentors. People embraced me. Being in a foreign place with nobody, no family around, nobody, you walk in, and the professors, Dr. Hill, Dr. Brackett, Dr. Rodis, they just loved on me and took me like their own. This is really what said, you know what, Emlah, you are in the right space. This is not only about pharmacy, this is about life.
I love that, Emlah. And those names, resonate with me. Dr. Ken Hale, Dr. Carrie Brackett, Dr. Jen Rodis, folks that have had such a positive impact on my life. I would suspect if we have any Buckeyes that are listening, those names would resonate as well. So you graduate from OSU, you've got some great mentors that are supporting you in this journey. Tell us more about the first job that you had after graduating and the work that you did in that job.
During my time at OSU, I had an absolute wonderful help from people around to connect with. I worked at Kroger as an intern. And so with the Kroger Health, I worked at almost every Kroger store that exists in Central Columbus. So I turned out to make all those connections, partially because I needed the money from the overtime and because I was trying to broaden my base. Every time I would work with a pharmacist, I work with you, and I will make sure that I get, your style of working, how you interact with patients. And my time at Kroger was wonderful. It was foundational because I did so much more than dispensing. At Kroger, that I found my calling. I said, you know what? There is a lot more to health than prescriptions. And Kroger was leading the way in immunizations, medication therapy management. So I jumped onto that and I looked at every patient coming to me and I said, this patient is not just coming to pick up a medication. They need something more. And I worked with my team to become the top immunizing pharmacy in the Kroger Columbus division. And that was a beautiful journey. And it just brought the team together, changed the culture of the team when there's so much burnout and stress in the pharmacy world around now. So that's how my passion grew and connected with other people who are focusing on a lot more than dispensing. Because I believe dispensing brings people to the pharmacy. Patients come to pick up medications, but nobody wakes up and goes, I love metformin. I want to go pick up metformin because I want to take metformin. They're coming for health. So if there's anything we can do, which is beyond prescriptions, to take care of them, that's really my focus. And that's what I encourage my team to do.
And so you spent about a decade in community pharmacy, some time in the ambulatory care practice as well. And then you make the decision to open up Powell Pharmacy in the Columbus, Ohio area. Tell us more about, we talk about that with business owners. And I think sometimes it's, hard to remember that big moment, that decision, that leap of faith. And so take us back to that point in time of what led to, hey, I want to do my own thing. And then ultimately what took you across that line to actually get started.
It's hard to find that one moment that made that decision. Coming from Cameroon, like I said earlier, where there are no chain pharmacies. So my background is a pharmacist works in a hospital or a pharmacist owns an independent pharmacy. So that's what I knew growing up as a child. And all through going through pharmacy school at the Ohio State University, I'm thinking, it's kind of different. When I walk into a chain pharmacy, I go today and they don't recognize me. I go the next day, they don't. Nothing against chain pharmacies because that was me for 10 years. And they are the most wonderful people you will find behind the counter taking care of our health. But I just wanted to practice pharmacy a little different. I just wanted to do something beyond dispensing, to be able to take it one step further. And I kept, the fear of making a big decision. And I said, you know what, Emlah, maybe I need an MBA to be able to open my own pharmacy. I started reading into that. I started I bought a ton of books. I bought about 30 books and started reading. I said, you know what, with all these student loans, I don't know, should I add an MBA and get more student loan onto this? And, that fear going back and forth. And then when I transitioned from Kroger and went to Nationwide Children's Hospital and practiced in the ambulatory care space there, and a lot of things, including, having my own children. I do have 3 children, balancing pharmacy, mom. And I said, I can continue to postpone this and postpone it. And there will never be that right moment. But at the back, I just felt that talk to keep going. You know what? I really want to practice pharmacy the way I saw it growing up, to bring back the old style where I could relate with the patient and have a little bit more time to address other needs. And I said, when I moved to children's pharmacy, and I said, this might be the time. I was working the night shift there, and
Mm-hmm.
it kind of played with my balance as a mom. And I
Sure.
said, maybe this is the time to make that shift.
Mm-hmm.
And fear going back and forth with that decision. And I said, you know what? If I'm going to fail, let me fail fast. Let me just go
Mm-hmm.
in and get it done, and then we'll see how it works. If it doesn't work, I'm going to come back to Kroger or I'm going to come back to Nationwide Children's Hospital. But guess what's going to happen? I'm going to put in every single effort that I have in this body, and it's
Mm-hmm.
going to work. And so the leap of faith.
I love that. And, I think a couple things I heard there, if I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail fast, right? I'm going to fail forward and really evaluating what is
Yes,
the worst case scenario. And I think for
absolutely.
many pharmacists, we think about worst case scenario in a way that is unrealistic. There's not many professions that you can say, hey, my worst case scenario is I go back to a job that pays a 6-figure salary. That's a really good worst case scenario,
That
right?
is. That is. And Tim, like you mentioned, a good worst case scenario with the connections. Because one of the books I was telling you, all those books I was reading, one of the books that I read that made an impact was The E-Myth Revisited by Michael
Yes.
Gerber.
Yep.
He said, nobody is interested in a commodity. People
Mm-hmm.
buy feelings,
Yep.
people buy relationships, people buy connections. And that is in every space, especially in the pharmacy space. And I always link it that nobody wakes up and goes, I would like to go and buy a medication.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People buy health. People want to feel better. People come to you and I as pharmacists in this space to feel better about themselves, to live better.
That's right.
And what can we do as pharmacists to connect that? So, if my worst case scenario is going back to work at the previous job that I had, that's fine. And
Mm-hmm.
have I impacted people along the way? That is my definition of success.
Oh, I love
And
that.
that's my definition of, my life as a pharmacist.
Yes. Yeah. And the other thing you said that really resonated with me there is there may never be the quote right moment, right? I think of like, it could be
Yes.
student loans, it could be a young family, it could be other prioritize another financial goal. There's so many things that,
Yes.
that, that can get in the
Yes.
way. And, it kind of reminds me of, I've got 4 boys, you mentioned 3 children. Like there's never a right time to have a baby or to have, a child.
Absolutely, Tim.
And,
Yes.
and I think it can be similar with business that, if we wait for all the stars to align, like we might be looking back at a point in time and wondering
Absolutely.
what would
Should
have
I
been.
have done it? Should I
Hmm.
have done it at that time? Or maybe this was the right time to do it, or when? And you name all those factors. It's a compounding effect. And
Yes.
you put it, and then when the baby is here, guess what? We're going to have to take care of this baby, Tim. We're going to
Hmm.
figure out we have never learned how to change a diaper before. We're going to change it. And this is how I practice pharmacy. I relate it to being a mother. And I
Mm-hmm.
tell my patients, I am a great pharmacist because I'm a great mother. And I'm a great mother because I'm a great pharmacist. And I'm not saying great because I know how to do the parenting thing right, but
Yeah.
this is because every day I put in my 100%. Some days I
Hmm.
feel like that 100% is equal to a 0%, but I put it regardless.
Yeah. I love that. And the figure it out, mentality and the factor. So April 2019, you opened the business and, not even a year later, we've got the pandemic that obviously hits us, close, has had such an impact on small businesses, certainly new businesses, arguably to a greater degree. Tell us about, what impact the pandemic had on the business, on you as a business owner, and then what were some things that you were able to learn through perhaps that difficult time that have allowed you to grow as an individual and a business owner?
Talk about timing, Tim. Talk about
Hmm.
timing. And I kept reminding myself, I said, Emlah, it is about the impact that you're going to have for the people around you. It is about the impact. Once the pandemic hit, I said, oh my goodness, I have not figured out what I'm doing. Like every day, I learned more. Opening the pharmacy, I tell people the pharmacy has been open about 2.5 years now. Almost 3 here. And I said, in this past 3 years, I have learned more than the past 30 years of my life put together because every day is a different challenge.
Hmm.
I could either put my head on the pillow and cry or I could face it. And I say, the fastest way through a storm is going right through it every single
Hmm.
time. And this pandemic was a hit in the face. I said, oh my goodness, what did I just do?
Hmm.
And such is life, Tim. Such is life. To me, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a mother, I'm going through opening a business in the pandemic and navigating how to continue to stay present in the community. And I said, refer back to what started. What made you, Tim, to open your financial pharmacies? YFP is here and it has impacted so many people, myself included. I look up to you, the
Thank
inspiration.
you.
Are you doing what you set out to do? Are you inspiring the people around you? And I keep asking myself that question every single
Mhm.
day. Emlah, are you making the impact with everybody that you cross paths with? Are their lives better because they cross paths with you? Are their lives
Mhm.
better because they came into Powell Pharmacy? Are their lives better because they came in contact with me or with my business? So that is really the drive. My why. Why did I start this?
Yeah, and I think as I've observed, Emla, the work that you've done from afar and being in Central Ohio and hearing through many shared connections, the great work that you're doing. One of the things I observed is, I'm looking at in preparation of this interview, an article that you had in the Columbus Dispatch for your reference. You've been various videos and interviews and media outlets in Columbus throughout the pandemic about
Mhm.
vaccine services and other things you've been working on. I feel like it's a great example of turning some of the challenges into opportunity. You've really positioned yourself as a voice of authority on community pharmacists and the importance of pharmacy in a community here in Central Ohio. And so, what a great thing as we think about the challenges of small business in the pandemic and obviously the impact we know pharmacists have had and the positive impact they've had throughout the pandemic. But to really position yourself as that voice of authority, I think was really a cool thing to watch. So, congratulations, I think, to you and obviously the team that's been involved in moving that forward.
Thank you, Tim. You say that and you mentioned being that voice. But
Mm-hmm.
during this space and during this time, those doubts, that
Mm-hmm.
difficulty. And my message to the YFP community is that when I mentioned earlier that I left Cameroon and I came here, my bridge to the PharmD program was to do a master's in molecular genetics.
Mm-hmm.
And all that while I kept telling myself, oh my goodness, that little voice inside, oh, what a waste of your 2 years. What a waste of your 2 years. My message is everybody, and I tell this to my children, they're still little, but no time is spent as a waste. If I
Mm-hmm.
spend this minute with you, I am always a student. I am always learning. And that is what all of us should do. If you're not
Mm-hmm.
learning, if you're not growing, you're dying. So that's what we need to continue to do. And I learned so much during this pandemic. I used the time and my knowledge of molecular genetics. Who knew
Mm-hmm.
that that will come in handy in practice to be able to make a video and talk about mRNA vaccines and how,
Mm-hmm.
because there was so much doubt when the vaccines came on. I did a video that would, inspire people and people would really understand how they work and this new type of vaccines. Is it really new? Is it going to hurt me? Is it going to help me? And you say Powell Pharmacy and what I have done during these days. I tell you, Tim, if you look at the people that I surround myself with,
Mm-hmm.
I surround myself with great pharmacists. I surround myself with like minded pharmacists. I surround myself with people like you, people who will inspire me to do more. And then people say, oh, Emlah, you're a wonderful pharmacist. You should see my friends. You should see my team. I'm just a reflection of them.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about life.
So powerful. I felt that this weekend, at OPA, being around you, being around Adam Martin, being around, folks like Jen Rodas and
Oh
other
my
people.
goodness.
I mean, it
The
is
energy,
such a
contagious.
great point. Yeah, the energy, the enthusiasm, the accountability, the
Yes.
challenging, so powerful. Emla, you
Yes.
talk about, some of these doubts, some of these voices. And I want to spend a moment here because, as a small business owner myself, those are certainly things I've experienced and have had to, work through and have others challenge me and keep me accountable. I know many other pharmacists, business owners are not, have struggled with similar things as
Hmm.
well. So my
Hmm.
question here is, what do you do practically to kind of get yourself in the right mindset, despite these challenges, despite some of these doubts or voices? You mentioned, surrounding yourself with folks that really challenge you, keep you accountable and help move you forward. What are some other things that you do practically as a business owner, as a mom, to really, bring your best self forward each and every day?
I continue, Tim, every single day to remind myself where I started from and learning how to practically. I love the fact that you use the word practical there because we read all these things in books. It's written. There's a book already written about it. It's in the textbook. We learn about it. Burnout, stress, making decisions. But we are so hard on ourselves and we forget that just the little things will encourage us and encourage the people around us.
Mm-hmm.
What I do is I am truly present every time. Say, for example, I have somebody in front of me at the pharmacy. And there's a line of people. I focus on that person. I give my 100% to that person. And I just ignore the line behind them. Because
Mm-hmm.
when it's their turn, I'm going to be with them. And I learn how to forgive myself for the past mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I practiced self acceptance. It was really hard to do at first, but with three children, having to wake up in the morning, get them all ready. Even when I worked at Kroger and worked at children's, I would have to wake up in the morning like everybody else does, get myself ready, get the kids ready, drive, drop them off, and then get to work.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to have a great morning routine, which will put me in that mind space and that mindset that will lead me to success throughout the day, it's a challenge. But I
Mm-hmm.
make sure that before the kids wake up, I have that 10 minutes to myself where I refocus my energy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I refocus my energy into myself and harness what's inside because there is something inside each and every one of us. To be there for yourself before you are there for other people because I cannot come to you. Everything, the beautiful is amazing. Everything is coming from inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be kind to yourself. And that's why my mantra is, we all struggle, choose kindness always. You have to
Mm-hmm.
be kind to yourself. And once you have filled yourself with that inner peace and kindness, it has no choice but to overflow into the spaces around you.
Mm-hmm.
Wellness and kindness are multidimensional, Tim, but they start inside you. So I'm grounded in the morning. I do my meditation. And as much as I'm distracted by the number of things on my to-do list for the day, I have a time where I say, you know what, gather the energy, get going, get the kids ready,
Mm-hmm.
and revisit that happy moment. I have it with the kids' happy moment, like I was sharing with you
Yeah.
during your talk. By the way, Tim, what an amazing talk. That was
Oh, thank you.
amazing.
Thank you.
It spoke straight to me and just touching those practical things. I said to myself, I need to encourage myself to calm that fear because it will come. Fear will come every day, to calm it
That's
every
right.
day and to calm it for my children and to calm it for my team and all my colleagues because my goal is to inspire people to enjoy life. We've invested so much already into
Mm-hmm.
this.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me your happy thought for the day. Tell me your gratitude thought for the day and let's keep it moving.
Yeah, and starting with the state of mind, we talked a little bit about
Yes,
that in the session, but when I
that.
hear you talk about the morning mindset and the importance of self-care and filling your
Yes.
bucket so you can serve others, whether that be your family or patients. And you have a gift, you talk about person at your pharmacy, regardless of what else is going on, focusing 100% on them. And you have a gift
Mhm.
in doing that. When someone talks with you one-on-one, you are fully invested in them. And that is a rare trait and a gift. And I can see why that has had such a positive impact on so many, whether that's patients, whether that's students that you're precepting and teaching, whether that's, folks that you're connecting with in the business community or family. What a gift to be able to share with others.
I'm
So
honored, Tim. I'm honored. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. So not only the pharmacy, which, we could talk at length about the work that you're doing there, which is really incredible, but you've also opened a second business, which is Emlah Naturals. So tell us a little bit more about the idea and vision behind that and what you've learned thus far through that experience. And we'll link to both Powell Pharmacy and Emlah Naturals in the show notes so folks can learn more.
Yeah, so Tim, practicing as a pharmacist, I see, there's some spaces that, we learn some of these things in school, but to be able to take it and translate it to, again, the word practical comes in, what practical changes, what things can I make? Because when we counsel patients, somebody comes and picks up their metformin today, I give them the counseling points that I learned from school and everything. And prior to saying that at school, we always learn through pharmacy school lifestyle changes, non-pharmacologic options. We mentioned that at the beginning of every counseling. In addition to lifestyle changes, the metformin is going to reduce your blood sugar. And that's as far as we go. We don't focus on those lifestyle changes. And that is key. That
Hmm.
is the long-term goal because there's a study that I always tell my students about, the navigator study, where they took like two drugs and they measured, how much they will reduce people's blood sugar and then reducing the effects, the long-term effects of diabetes and lifestyle changes. Number one, every single time, reduce the complications of diabetes more than the medications every time they combine those medications because people
Hmm.
want to. Nobody wakes up in the morning, Tim, and goes, I'm going to jeopardize my health today. I'm going to wake up and not eat better. I'm just going to be mean to my health today. Nobody
Hmm.
makes up and makes that decision consciously. We all want to do better. It's all coming from a great space. We all want to do better for our body. So when we come to the pharmacy and we're picking up medications, I had noticed a gap because my background, having lived and studied in a third world developing country and a developed country here, I bring a unique perspective on life and medicine and wellness to the table. From the economic challenges that I grew up with. My mom had
Hmm.
a garden behind the house, and it's turmeric every day, it's ginger every day, it's mint, it's aloe every day for all the medications, you know, and
Hmm.
even when I had malaria maybe 30, 40, 30 times. It's, stayed out of school several times because of malaria. She would treat malaria. Sometimes we had chloroquine, but now we're knowing that chloroquine is, all the resistance, but she
Hmm.
would do everything, lifestyle changes, just hydration, all the herbs that she would do. So I have that knowledge in me. And then, combine it with the clinical knowledge that I learned during my doctoral of pharmacy studies at Ohio State. I said, you know what, I think this is a space I want to encourage people to focus on that lifestyle medication, to eat healthier, feel better, manage stress, exercise more, love more, give more, so they can be kind to their body. But we're missing that space. About 70% of the US people are taking natural supplements already. They're taking supplements
Yep.
and vitamins. But we're buying it from, Amazon, from the store. We just go in there and buy it. But these medications are interacting with all the medications that we're taking, all these vitamins. So people come in and go, oh, my girlfriend is taking echinacea and it's really helping her. It's boosting her immune system. She has not had a cold. And you know what? I'm taking warfarin. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go take that echinacea too. But that's a space where the pharmacist
Hmm.
is supposed to be forefront and be, you know what, we run drug interactions. And I said, I've been thinking about this, but this is the need that I need to solve with Emlah Naturals. Create a supplement line where education is key. And that's what sets Emlah Naturals apart. So empowering the pharmacist to be able to recommend these supplements with confidence, run those drug interaction reports, and make sure that the supplement that's good for you is not the one that's good for me. And then the salt form too. A lot of times you have people going in there, you see the doctor said, oh, they run the lab test and I'm anemic. I have to go pick up some iron. They go to the pharmacy and they pick up this ferrous sulfate, ferrous gluconate. There's like 10 different salt forms, and they're like, which one should I get? This one's on
Hmm.
sale. Maybe I should get it. Or this one's the most expensive. It's probably
That's
going to
right.
work better.
Yep.
Yeah, that was me. The point that turned it around for me, I said, I was diagnosed my vitamin D was very low when I was pregnant with my first son. And I went back straight to work. I worked at Kroger at the time and I looked at a shelf. There were like 20 vitamin Ds. And I said to myself, which one am I going to take? I'm a pharmacy student and I don't even know which one to take. Then think
Yeah.
about my mom, think about other people who have no knowledge of pharmacy. So that's really what sparked my interest in opening Emlah Naturals. And it has been tremendously satisfying and fulfilling to help encourage people, to educate people, to be able to make
Hmm.
this supplement recommendations and supplement selection with personality in mind.
And again, we'll link to both of those in the show notes. So emlahnaturals.com, that's EMLAH, and then powellpharmacy.com, POWELL, pharmacy.com. And of course, if folks find their way in central Ohio, I'd highly encourage you to stop by Powell Pharmacy. So Emlah, I think as folks hear your story, by any objective measure, they would say, wow, Emlah's been very successful. And, lots of examples of recognition. A couple you mentioned in terms of what you achieved in your time at Kroger and your stores in the top 1% of the immunization statistics. You were also featured in National Chain Drug Review, many Kroger recognitions, including Leader in Patient Care, Outstanding Mentor. You've been Preceptor of the Year at Ohio State. You've won the OPA, Ohio Pharmacists Association Distinguished Young Pharmacist Award. So based on those external measures, those objective measures, wow, she's really successful. Those awards, she owns 2 businesses. But your definition of success is what I believe matters, your measuring bar. And so my question here is, how would you measure success as you think about what that means for you, both personally as well as professionally?
Oh, Tim, that's a great question. I have always asked myself that question, and I make sure to write an answer. I've not always formed it the way you formulate it, but I always tell myself, Emlah, if I cross paths with somebody, if I meet you today, Tim, does your life get better because I'm in it?
Mm-hmm.
Do my children's life get better because I'm in it? Do my girlfriends, my friends, my neighbors, my family, my church, my community, the pharmacists that work with me, the pharmacists that I meet at OPA, do their lives get better? Everyone who I'm honored to cross paths with, does their life get better because I'm in it?
Mm-hmm.
How can I give
Mm-hmm.
emotionally, financially, physically, just to be there? Have I been able to make their lives better? That to me is the true definition of success in my mind. And that's what keeps me going. If I can make my son happy, if I can make my team member happy, if I can improve their lives, help them in any way possible, because health is different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is the true definition. You can give me all those awards you mentioned. I mean, they're great to have. They boost my confidence. They help me do more in different ways, but I'm inspired by people who have gone ahead of me, and I reach out, to help other people. But to be truly successful and to have my head on the pillow at night and feel good about my day and feel good about the day tomorrow and get me the better mindset to perform tomorrow better than I did today is, have I helped the people around me to eat healthier, feel better,
Mm-hmm.
manage stress, love more, give
Mm-hmm.
more, to be kind to my body so that my children can see me being kind to my body and they can emulate, they can be kind to their body. That gets more blood going to the brain, that gets more
Mm-hmm.
oxygen going to the brain, that helps me think clearly, that helps me, give me more energy so that I can, radiate to the people around me. That truly, to me, is success.
That's beautiful, Emma. And I would argue that those awards, are simply an external affirmation of all of those things that you just mentioned, right? Your ability to focus on others and, look at how can I help you be a better individual, to motivate, to inspire, to, share your gifts with others, to love more, to empower them. And one of the things I
Yes.
heard as you're talking there is just the incredible gift of presence that you're giving other people and in those lives throughout the day, again, whether that's personal or professional. And that is really hard, from personal
It
experience
is. It
to say, I'm
is,
going to be
Tim.
present in this moment as a business owner, as a boss, as a spouse, as a, father or a mother, like to be present in that moment, especially you've got a couple businesses, things are busy. Like, there's a lot of, I think, individual work that has to be done to be able to develop that state of mind and presence. So what a beautiful thing to share with others. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Tim. I share those. It is hard to keep in touch with humanity and embrace that change and
Mm-hmm.
challenges that are along the journey, because not every day is 100% day.
Mm-hmm.
Some days my self-worth is down here, some days it's up there, but
Yep.
my dispensing, I frame it, I tell my team, I said, we are dispensing wellness, we're dispensing care and kindness.
Mm-hmm.
It's beyond the prescription and daily
Yes.
life, coming with the goal is to dispense care
Mm-hmm.
every single time to ourselves as well.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. Well, this has been a real treat. Thank you so much for coming on the show, for sharing your story. Let's do it again. Where can people find more about you? I've mentioned the two websites thus far, but if people want to connect with you further and follow your journey.
Well, we are present on Facebook. We are at emlahnaturals.com, and we are also on Instagram, also just Emlah Naturals on Instagram. The goal is to inspire people, just help people remember that there's a lot more to health than prescriptions. So
Mm-hmm.
we're sharing about, the information. So you're not just going out to buy a supplement. We just share information about supplements. And my long-term goal, God willing, and, giving me the energy that I will get from my friends and my mentors is to be able to help people remember just basic things. We're working on, some things here in the future to encourage
Mm-hmm.
hydration, which is,
Mm-hmm.
so that's something probably honored to get on the show again and share with the YFP community,
Yeah.
because, so it's, those things that will help us, get better. Instagram, Facebook will share our upcoming events on there
Mm-hmm.
and really being present in the community, hydration, and helping people to motivate as pharmacists, and the work that you're doing is tremendous, tremendous, Tim. I just, that financial peace of mind, and,
Mm-hmm.
getting your newsletters. I tell you, I read every single one of your newsletters every
Thank you.
single day that it comes in. They're short, they're bite-sized information. And that's something that I learned from you, again, being a student of life,
Mm-hmm.
when I started, my newsletters were long, I go back and I'm like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? And I said, you know what? Your newsletters are the perfect length. I read them. And guess what? Emlah Naturals newsletters are just like that on emlahnaturals.com. You can subscribe at the bottom and you will get bite-sized information about supplements and about general things, anything that will help contribute to your health, which is, not exactly related to
Mm-hmm.
prescriptions. Yes, so that's what, and we will be looking for more to come and hoping that I will be any stage that I'm honored to be on will be helping to motivate people, pharmacists, especially to invest. We've invested a lot into this. We need to be happy while doing it and be self-fulfilled.
Absolutely. And I'm confident whether folks are, in a patient care role in a community ambulatory care hospital setting, whether they're running a business, whether they're, working to be the best version of themselves as a parent or as a spouse or significant other, I'm confident they're going to get a lot out of this episode. So Emlah, again, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
I'm honored, Tim. Thank you very much. And thank you for everything that you do to those of us in the YFP community. I love it. This is a fantastic place to be. Thank you, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Before we wrap up today's episode of the Your Financial Pharmacist podcast, I want to again thank our sponsor, Splash Financial. If you've ever considered refinancing your loans, check your rate now through Splash Financial. If you qualify, refinancing can help get you a lower monthly payment on your student loans or get a lower interest rate. Splash helps you shop and compare loan refinancing offers across lenders nationwide. Browsing rates through Splash Financial is fast, free, and won't impact your credit until you complete a full application. And now when you successfully refinance $50,000 or more, Splash Financial will give you an extra $500 in cash bonus using our link splashfinancial.com/YFP. So check your rate today and see what you might be able to save at splashfinancial.com/YFP. As we conclude this week's podcast, an important reminder that the content on this show is provided to you for informational purposes only and is not intended to provide and should not be relied on for investment or any other advice. Information in the podcast and corresponding materials should not be construed as a solicitation or offer to buy or sell any investment or related financial products. We urge listeners to consult with a financial advisor with respect to any investment. Furthermore, the information contained in our archived newsletters, blog posts, and podcasts is not updated and may not be accurate at the time you listen to it on the podcast. Opinions and analyses expressed herein are solely those of your financial pharmacist unless otherwise noted and constitute judgments as of the dates published. Such information may contain forward-looking statements which are not intended to be guarantees of future events. Actual results could differ materially from those anticipated in the forward-looking statements. For more information, please visit yourfinancialpharmacist.com/disclaimer. Thank you again for your support of the Your Financial Pharmacist podcast. Have a great rest of your week.